Yo, what is going on, guys? This is your boy TrevCL, and today we are here for week 5 of the PPL against Paul, aka Polymac, a good friend of mine, and his West Coast Wingulls. Now, last week we took down Colton, aka Shadow Gaming Hub, and his Osaka Eevees. We took him down 5-0 to move us to 2-2, +7, also ending our 2-game skid. So that was really amazing for us, as had we lost that game, especially since Colton was 0-3 into that game, that definitely would have been a huge hit to our season, and honestly probably would have knocked us out of the running for the championship. Not necessarily it would have been mathematically impossible to come back from 1-3, but just the sheer fact that not only were we losing to some of the top teams, but if we were to lose to some of the bottom teams as well, that doesn't bode well, because right now we basically need to beat definitely the bottom half of the standings. Whoever we haven't played there, we have to beat, and pretty much we have to beat Kyle as well, since he's undefeated. So if we lose to him, then we're 3 games back of him whenever we play him in week 7, depending on if he is still undefeated and if we win these next 2 games. So we definitely need to start winning a lot more. Can't go 2-2 every 4 weeks and expect to win the championship, as probably 8-3 at the very least is what's going to be required, possibly 9-2. So I might just need to win out, but we have to take it 1 week at a time, and this week it is Paul that is our opponent. So Paul, as I said, is a good friend of mine. We've actually only played once in the format, and that was in the TBU last season, and I got a little lucky on a Focus Blast roll through a Choppleberry T-Tar, and I was able to nearly win that game. And that was when Paul was kind of in a spiral. That was his 5th loss in a row to start the TBU season. But Paul has picked it up. He's 3-1 here, +10. So he's only 3 differential ahead of us, but he is a game ahead of us as well. So just to quickly go over the team I'm bringing and the mons that he could have brought. So as you can see, he brought the Mega Glade, the Tornti, the Scolipede, Vicavolt, Crocodile, and Heatran, which is roughly what I was expecting. And what he left on the bench was he left Primarina, Druddigon, Kangaskhan, Glaceon, and Lurantis. So interesting thing here is that Scolipede and Vicavolt are his Z movers, 2 of his 3 eligible Z movers. I'd expect Scolipede in this matchup to be the Z mover, just because it needs a Z move to blow back Celesteela, or maybe ZEQ the Okozard X, something like that. But quickly run down over my team. I just have a Speedy Nidoqueen. It was speed creeping max speed Primarina just in case, because Primarina I felt was a pretty dangerous threat to my team. I really didn't have any good switch-ins to expect Primarina on this team. And Nidoqueen just rocks, I believe, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, and then Thunderbolt. Next we have a Choice Scarf Umbreon. I know that's kind of weird, but Choice Scarf Umbreon, and the reason is that you see I didn't bring Whimsicott. I don't, it's Whimsicott, and I'm trying to remember what was the other one I didn't bring. Whimsicott and Rotom Wash. So you may be wondering why I didn't bring either of those 2. Rotom Wash did have a decent matchup, but I felt like these 6 months were better. And while Whimsicott was a pretty decent offensive Glade check, I actually felt like a Scarfed Umbreon was an even better one, just because it could possibly catch him off guard more than a Whimsicott would, because obviously he's going to switch out against a Whimsicott until he finds out what my item is if I'm Life Orb or Specs. Whereas Umbreon, he might be, if he sets up an SD, he might be thinking, oh, he might be able to live with Chople and then just close combat me and would still OHKO me, because +2 close combat after rock still OHKOs like Choppleberry Umbreon, because Mega Glade's broken. Not really broken, but it's strong. And yeah, but I just really like Choice Scarf Umbreon. I think it's gonna catch him off guard. It is actually running max speed to also outspeed a max speed Torn, so it'd be interesting if that comes into play too. Next we have just a Scarf Terrakion. Another thing I wanted to outspeed Glade. Obviously my best thing to hit a Glade is Aerial Ace, but I just wanted the insurance that I could still kill a Glade from about 50%, 50-60% or so. Next we have Crest, which is Colberberry. I know he's probably going to bring X-Scissor on his Glade, but I had to bring Colbur just in case because I am EV to live 2 X-Scissors or a +2 X-Scissor after rocks. And I'm running Moonblast, Calm Mind, Sidekick, and Moonlight. Reason why I'm running the Sidekick is just because it does do a little bit more damage. A lot of his things have a decent amount more, well, he has a mix of things that have a little bit more physical bulk and special bulk, but stuff like the Scolipede and the Crook, well, not the Crook, sorry, I killed that with Moonblast, or I hit that with Moonblast, but like the Scolipede and the Vikavolt are hit a little bit harder by Psychic than Psyshock, so honestly, there was a reason I could have run both, but I just felt like, because Psychic can OHKO Scolipede after rocks, where depending on bulk investment, whereas Psyshock does not because of the massive difference between defense and speed def. Next we have a Autotomized Fighting MZ Superpower Celesteela with Heavy Slam and Stone Edge to go along with it. Reason on Fighting MZ is I'm totally expecting either Balloon or Shuka-Tran, so I'm actually not only running Fighting MZ Superpower on my Celesteela, but I'm also running Brick Break on my Zard over Earthquake, which my Zard is Roost, DD, Brick Break, and Flare Blitz, max attack, and then enough speed, I believe, to outspeed. I'm trying to remember what I was trying to outspeed with this thing. Not the Crocodile. I think I was outspeeding a Heatran, so max speed Heatran. So the Celesteela, going back to the Celesteela, it has enough speed to outspeed everything on his team bar Scarfers. It also, at +1, kills pretty much any Heatran with Z Superpower after rocks, again, unless he's Chople, but I'm not expecting Chople at all. But I think I have wasted enough of your time. Obviously, we're 7 minutes in. This is kind of a shorter battle. It is a 20-turn battle, and as you can see, it's only 9 minutes on the replay, so even with this long intro and a decent outro, we still should be in and out of here in about 20 or 25 minutes. So let me just go ahead and start the replay. So my game plan here was to lead off with Nidoqueen because it can get up rocks against pretty much anything bar the Crook, as or possibly a Taunt Tornadus as well. But I have the Pyopia Berry, so I'm not afraid of the Glade, unless, you know, obviously he gets the flinch, which would be rather unfortunate. So he does lead off with the Glade, which I was kind of half expecting. So he's going to Mega Evolve, and he's going to go straight for the Zen Headbutt, as I'm just going to go ahead and fire off my rock. So he pops my Pyopia Berry. And he is not going to get the flinch, however, but he is going to get a crit. So luckily he didn't get the hacks that he needed to prevent rocks, but at the same time my Nidoqueen is now within range of any hit, so that means I can't potentially go into Crest expecting another Zen Headbutt, because any move from here will kill me. So he just fires off the X-Scissor, which again I kind of expected, but again I had to bring Colbur for the Glade. Just in case, because knockoff could 2-hit KO me, or OHKO me at +2, whereas X-Scissor doesn't, even after rocks, cannot 2-hit KO me. Also, Cobra helps for the Crocodile. So as you can see, that Moonblast does quite a bit, almost half, which reveals that he has pretty much no bulk investment, maybe like 4 in HP or speed def, but you know, not too much. But right here, he's going to go into the Vikavolt, as I'm going to go into my Umbreon, and the reason why I went into my Umbreon here is because of the fact that I was expecting another X-Scissor or an SD, one of those two, and I could live an X-Scissor pretty easily because Umbreon, even with only max HP, is really fat, and or a SD, in which case I could definitely kill him with Foul Play from there. As well. So that was the point of the Umbreon play. However, he does go into Vikavolt, and this is a kind of a scary situation because I only have 2 bug resist on my entire team. Celesteela, depending on what this set is, can get OHKO'd by Thunderbolt. Terrakion gets 2-hit KO'd easily, or if it is specs, but it is lefties, which I'd assume it would be because it's probably his Celesteela check. So I'm just going to fire off a Scarfed Toxic here, as he is going to just go for the Thunderbolt, which I was kind of expecting just because Thunderbolt was a lot more free against my team than Bug Buzz. And right here, whether he wants to go for the Thunderbolt or for the Bug Buzz, I really don't care. My only real play here is to go into Terrakion, because if my Zard was Mega, it'd be a different story, but my Zard is not Mega, so I'm just forced to go into Terrakion here, as I actually do get that play right as he goes for the Bug Buzz this time, wanting to potentially pick off my Umbreon, because right now he doesn't know whether I'm just, if he's a decently speedy Vikavolt, he doesn't know whether I'm like just a speed invested Umbreon. He doesn't know that I'm Scarfed yet, so that Bug Buzz actually does do quite a lot to my Terrakion. But right here, I figured that he has to keep that Vikavolt around. It's very important to help check Celesteela, or so he thinks. So I am just going to go straight for the CC, predicting the Crocodile, as it was his only rock resist, and even through the Intimidate and Chople Berry, that still does over half. And now right here, I have an interesting play I could make. Alright, I could stay in close combat, however, I'm thinking that the Mega Gallade comes out here. And I don't believe, even after rocks, because of the Intimidate, I don't believe 2 Adamant CCs will kill it from where it's at. And my Cress is obviously in range of 2 X Scissors. It's probably in range of Drain Punch or CC plus X Scissor. So I'm actually going to go into my Celesteela just to cover every play possible. He could have also gone into the Vikavolt, which at that point I could Stone Edge the Vikavolt and do quite a bit of damage. So I am going to go for Celesteela, and he's actually going to stay in, but he's not going to make the play he probably should have made. He is going to go for the EQ, and honestly right there, had he gotten up his rocks, I mean, he was basically sacking Crocodile anyway, so if I switched out, then there was rocks. If I don't, then he dies, and he gets a free switch into Mega Gallade. So I feel like rocks was the play there, and he admitted after the game that that should have definitely been his play, but because he goes for Earthquake, we look pretty good on that play. And right here, he's going to go for the Taunt, and honestly, I just wanted to kill off this Crocodile. I wasn't even necessarily expecting the Taunt. I was just thinking, hey, let's kill off this Crocodile for sure, and I do kill him. So if his Heatran wasn't the rocker and the Crocodile was, which the fact that he was Chople Taunt kind of leads me to believe that he might have been the rocker, which means that Zard might be free here. And so right here we have another interesting situation. So I'm a +1 Celesteela, and as you can see, he gets the rocks dug into him, but you see he's Balloon. So I'm thinking a couple things. There's a couple of thoughts that are going through my head right now. One, he's probably thinking my Celesteela is walled because it's going to bring the EQ for the Heatran, so there's absolutely no reason for me to stay in here, unless I just want to break the Balloon. 2, I might outspeed. I do have a lot of speed on the Celesteela, not enough to outspeed even a decently speedy Tran, but I don't know if he was just like maybe a max HP, max special attack, or even a decent amount of speed on Heatran, just a tiny bit, like I could outspeed. But if he is like, probably, I believe he would have to be like maybe about 60 EVs to outspeed me. So if he's got at least that much speed, he outspeeds me. And honestly, I can live a Lava Plume. I can potentially live a Flamethrower depending on his set. I can't live a Fire Blast no matter what, unless he's like even non-invested Fire Blast, I think will kill me. So if he's Flamethrower or Lava Plume, I can live. I'm either 1, banking on the outspeed, or maybe 2, predicting him to overpredict, just because my Celesteela really can't touch. Most Celesteals couldn't touch this Heatran. However, I did prep specifically for a Air Balloon / Shuka. He's going to overpredict, predicting me to go into Terrakion. And right here, I am just going to fire off my Z Superpower, and that is going to be a dead Heatran. So that play worked out fantastically. After the game, I found out he was really pretty speedy, definitely enough speed to outspeed like pretty much any form of Celesteela, I believe, even Jolly, and or at least a max speed Adamant one. And he was modest, so Flamethrower was actually a roll in my favor for me to live if he did go for that. However, we still have a full health Celesteela here, and honestly, if I wasn't taunted, I can pretty much autotomize on anything like on Glade, on the Torn, on the Scolipede possibly as well, and potentially just win. But obviously I still have one more turn to taunt, so he's going to go into Torn here. He can't kill me, no matter what set he is. He is going to go for the Heat Wave, get a burn, which is quite unfortunate. However, the fact is that I can still kill him with the Heavy Slam. So the burn just meant that Celesteela wasn't worth saving at all. Potentially, yeah, I could have kept it around, because if he was like ZEQ on Scolipede, he can't really kill me with anything, unless he's like packing the superpower, because Aqua Tail, he would need a max roll if he's Jolly. Rock Slide couldn't kill me, stuff like that. But I really see no reason to save the Celesteela here, so I'm just going to drop to the Drain Punch as Glade picks up its second kill of the game. So even though we're looking really good here, you know, that Celesteela just ran through half of Paul's team just like that. This game is far from over. So right here, I'm actually going to go into Cress, and I'm going to, I want to be at full health, just to help kind of check the Scolipede, because I can actually take any one hit from Scolipede, even Adamant Life Orb Mega Horn, at full health. So the only thing he can kill me with is Buggy MZ Mega Horn, as he actually does go for the Sword Stance, and that was kind of another potential thing I could do with that, is bait him to go for the Sword Stance, trying to beat my Crest 1v1. As right here I'm going to go into Terrakion, predicting the X Scissor, and that is going to do really not that much, as I'm just going to go for the Air Lace. Just narrowly missed out on the KO. I wasn't even expecting it to come close to KOing, if I'm being honest. So I mean, that's just free Scarfed Umbreon bait right here. He really doesn't have a great switch into Foul Play at this point, because the Vikavolt is going to have to take the Toxic, the Rocks, and the Foul Play, and Foul Play will still do like 15% the Vikavolt. So I am going to pick up a kill with Scarfed Umbreon. It is going to kill the Glade like it was intended to. Obviously, it was in range of Foul Play even without the boost, so it was only at like 25%. So it wasn't quite as impressive as I hoped it to be, but it still did its job. It killed the Glade. So right here, he is actually going to go for the Agility, which is kind of surprised me, which means he either doesn't have coverage from his Zard, or he doesn't have Roost. We're going to actually find out he wasn't creeping very fast, because I guess he just didn't expect this, but you know, obviously he wasn't expecting it. But Foul Play does, I am able to outspeed his Vikavolt at +2 and Foul Play him. So it's kind of funny that an Umbreon outsped an Agility Vikavolt. You don't see that every day for sure. So right here I'm thinking that he possibly could be Toxic, in which case, or die to Toxic is what I meant, and in which case I could win, because he's either Bug EMZ and he kills my Crest, or he's Earth or Ground EMZ and he kills my Zard, but he can't kill one. He can only kill one, but he doesn't die. But this also gives me a chance to just possibly win the game as well, if he's not Protect Scolipede, or even if he is, if I win the 50-50, as he is carrying the Hidden Power Ground, which means he didn't actually have Roost, which again kind of surprised me. I guess he just was thinking that it could be a one-time Celesteela check, and then after that it was not quite as useful. So right here he is going to die to the second Toxic, or the Toxic, which is a second kill for Umbreon. So Scarfed Umbreon putting in the finest sport, getting its 4th and 5th kills of the season, which for an Umbreon, that's pretty impressive. So he's going to go into the Scolipede here, and honestly, you might look at this play as being a 50-50. Because if he protects here, then he can kill me off, and if he is Bug EMZ, then he obviously kills me with the Bug EMZ Mega Horn on my Crest, and that's the game. However, my play here is 100% the Flare Blitz, because I am like 99% sure he's either going to be Ground EMZ for my Zard, or one of Fight EMZ, Rock EMZ, or Water EMZ to help for a coverage move to help hit Celesteela. Or he's Life Orb. And again, that doesn't kill my Crest unless he crits me. So pretty much the only way he can win is if he gets this play right. He protects as I Flare Blitz, and he crits my Crest or has Bug EMZ. So in my head, I'm thinking that's like a 5% chance to happen. Like I said, I think it's a 1% chance that he has the Bug EMZ, and obviously there's the 4% chance to crit. And even if he is Z-move, then Jolly Megahorn with a crit actually does not kill my Crest. So Crest is super fat. So my play here is to just Flare Blitz here, because at worst, he gets a Protect up, and again, my Crest lives at anything bar Bug Game Z, and honestly, I wasn't sure if he would even have Protect either. He did have Protect, but he didn't go for it there. He expected me to DD or Roost, but again, Flare Blitz was just the safest play, because if he SD'd that turn, then it became another 50-50 had I DD'd. If I roosted as he SD'd, then the game was over, unless he missed a Megahorn, so... but we do get that play right, and we do win the game 2-0 over Paul. So, it was a small differential, but I definitely felt I had control of the game pretty much from turn 1. Once I got my rocks up, I felt pretty confident. Now, he could have been defog on Torn, but if I remember correctly, he wasn't defog on Torn, so those rocks were there to stay. I pretty much followed my game plan, except for the fact that my game plan was to autotomize with Celesteela. However, it still worked out even without the autotomize, just because Celesteela did what it was supposed to do. It killed the Heatran. It surprised a Air Balloon / Shuka Berry Heatran, which it ended up actually being the Air Balloon. So again, Paul was just not expecting that. That's why he clicked Earth Power, because he felt like it was a free Earth Power. Because even if I did go into something like Cress or Umbreon, he would probably have Toxic for those, I'm assuming. So he felt it was a free Earth Power, because the only thing that could threaten him directly would be the Terrakion, because with his Air Balloon, I'm assuming he also felt that Zard couldn't threaten him directly, and he could also get an Earth Power off against that. So, he felt like it was a free Earth Power, and against my original Celesteela set, which was, I believe, Leech Seed, Protect, Earthquake, and Heavy Slam, it was a free Earth Power. However, I changed sets, and I prepped for the Air Balloon / Shuka Berry possibility, and it worked out like a charm. And Heatran went down, and then Torn, which honestly I'd kind of overlooked in prep, and I hate playing that thing so much, it's so annoying. However, because I got that play right and he got that play wrong, that meant he had to lose his Torn as well. So it just worked out fantastically for me this game, and I couldn't be happier. Definitely a well-fought game. A little lucky he didn't bring the Primarina or the Druddigon, because the Druddigon actually could wall about 2 of my things before it would have to go down. I mean, I didn't have very much coverage on my team at all for it. As my Zard was impacting D-Claw. The best thing I had on my team to hit it was like Moonblast Crest. I wasn't even packing like Ice Beam on my Nidoqueen. So it would have been hard to take down, but luckily we got lucky on that part. And also, like, he didn't bring Primarina at all, which Specs could have been annoying, because Speedy Specs Prim could have, like, if he was max speed Timid Prim, 2 Hydro Pumps could have potentially killed my Crest after Rocks. But again, we didn't have to worry about Prim, so this is about the team I expected. I probably expected the Prim over something like the Crocodile, and then the Heatran would be the rocker. That's honestly, those were the 6 I would probably have expected. Just because even though Vikavolt didn't end up doing that much in this game, it was there to be the Celesteela check, the physical Celesteela, because physical definitely did a lot better against his team than special. And even if I had Stone Edge, if he was a decently bulky Vikavolt, then he could take one even after Rocks unless I had a boost. So I definitely expected the Vikavolt this game. Not quite the Vikavolt set he brought. I expected Roost, a bulkier Roost variant. He was more offensive with no Roost. But, again, we're all worked out. So I'm glad. Again, GG DePaul, go check him out. He was doing fantastically going into this game. And still, even with this loss, we're only 1 differential ahead of him. He's now 3-2 plus 8. We're now 3-2 plus 9. And depending on how the 2 current undefeated teams do, we could potentially gain a game on either of them, or possibly both of them. Or if they both win, then we might not gain a game at all. But hey, at least we didn't lose a game on them. And now we move into sole possession of 3rd place, which is really cool. So again, we're probably going to have to win out if we want to win the championship, or even if we lose one game, as long as it's not the Kyle, then we will be in pretty decent shape. But then there's the problem of Better Jack, who we already obviously lost to, and so we don't have that game to potentially make up on him. So if he just keeps steamrolling the league, then that's also a problem. So, but you know, we just gotta hope. A lot of this is out of our hands, out of our control. We can do the best, even if we do the best possible at 9-2. There's a good chance, a decent chance that we still don't win the championship. So it's a lot out of our hands, but there is still a good amount that it is in our control, and we need to, or I need to make sure that you know, I keep winning, and you know, let Jack and Kyle worry about themselves. And if they pick up a couple losses here, then it's going to look really good for us. But I've been rambling on long enough. This was a pretty short battle to have like a 25-30 minute narration on, so I'll let you guys go. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure that if you liked the video, you obviously leave that like. Make sure if you want to follow more PPL content or NPL content, both are PPL goes up on Mondays, NPL goes up on Saturdays. So you know, and obviously my NPL, I'm doing like promo / skits at the beginning. PPL, I'm doing FACECAM. So you know, I've got my own little thing for each league. So hopefully, if you like either of those, again, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, hit that like button for this video. And other than that, this has been your boy TrevCL, and I'm signing out. Peace, guys.